Shabbat Shalom and greetings to you all. Now, I hope everybody had a great Purim, a day determined by the throwing of the dice. And so much in our lives can be determined that way. When Caesar crossed the Rubicon and instituted civil war in Rome, he said, Alia jacta est, the die is cast. We roll the dice in life more times than you realize. But you are the captain of your own destiny, my friends. Everything in your life is actually still up to you. In the sadness of your smile, love is an island way out to sea. But it seems so long ago. We've been ready, trying to be free. And it's up to you. Why won't you say? Make our lives turn out this way. If they knew that we have got nothing to lose, no reason to hide from what's true. And there never is a reason to ever hide from the truth, my friends. Never hide from it and never refrain from speaking it. It is the most important thing you can do. Now, if you did not celebrate Purim or were too busy, which so many of us are, it's never too late. Think of who you want to be and what stops you. What keeps you from being conscious, from being mindful, from being aware and accepting? Go and do an unsolicited act of kindness for anybody. Get together with some family or friends. Have a nice dinner. And you can always go to our channel and watch this year's reading of the biblical book of Esther. Now, Esther is a fascinating, non-religious diaspora story. A story about and presumably for Jews in the first diaspora during the Persian period. Provides an optimistic picture of Jewish survival and success in the foreign land. And the Jewish community is actually not changed, adapting to its adoptive countries, thriving, like in Europe, the Far East, North, South America, always was, always is, wherever we may be. And it's a Bible reading in which God is not mentioned once. And there were no prayers and there's no liturgy. Hey, that's pretty good. Its only real rule, eat, drink, and be merry. And don't forget that in 2 weeks we will have the Rosh Chodesh of Nisan. I think the most important one of the year. It is the true reset button, allowing you to imprint your will on the blank canvas of life. And it allows you to put in motion the year in the life that you want to have. And this year, like last year, we will have a booklet that we can send out, which will give you the highlights of the steps to take and energy to put into for each of the 12 days to create the year you want. And just as both those times are important times for celebration of miracles, for love, for opportunity, for freedom from fear, let's take this moment now to celebrate our coming together as a like-minded group in our showing of faith, of love as a community, a chavura, a fellowship when we express our nature of kindness, compassion, thoughts, feelings, hopes, dreams, and wishes that unites us all in this community house of spirit, Beth Ruach. So once again, please do go ahead and invite everybody you know, physically, psychically, emotionally, or spiritually, to gather and share from Psalm 133, the Hine Matov. Come together. Hine Matov, Ubenai, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov, Ubenai, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. How good, how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters together. Community, community, community together. And as a community, let us all spread love, goodwill, and fellowship to the entire world. And our community lost a great champion of love, of kindness, of sharing and caring. Quite recently, with the loss of Rabbi Mordechai ben Aharon Vayita. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Dayan ha'emet. Blessed are you, Lord of God, King of the universe, the true judge. Alav hashalom. May he rest in peace. As we prepare to send healing and renewal energy out to the world, let's send some special prayers out for Deborah and for Leica, both holding on in dire straits and needing our support, as we gather to send our energy to help them and others the world over who suffer from mental, from physical, from emotional or spiritual traumas. As we share the miracle of healing, of renewal, continue sending prayers out for Marlu, for Joseph, for Veronica and Aubrey, for the pirate, for Ben, for Lindsay and her father, for our dear friend Bob, for the one and only Rosemary. So let's send out love and renewal and healing to them and to whoever else you know who comes to mind. And of course, make sure you do include yourself, my friends, because you need renewal too. We all do. It's the kindness, healing, wishes, goodwill, and love that we all send out that circles the world, finding those in need. So thank you, each and every one of you, for all you do, for all you care, because the world is a world of spirit, and spirit never dies. Me. Avotenu Makor HaBracha Imotenu. May the source of strength bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage. Make our lives a blessing. The renewal of body, the renewal of spirit. Let us say, Amen. Yishaberach, let us all have our spirits renewed, every one of us the world over, my friends. Now this week, it starts kind of as a bean counters parsha. There's going to be an inventory of the people. And of course, an inventory is what we call a census. And it introduces us to the artistry that's necessary for the creation and expression of spirit. And this parsha ends with the greatest mistranslation in the Torah. The great lesson of the parsha comes in the story of the golden calf, a term that's become even more popular in today's day and age when so many put false gods such as money and wealth and power up as the gods that they revere and forget to have faith in the God of creation or the God of freedom. And everything about the golden calf episode, my friends, points to major lessons in life. This week we read tisa, when you lift up. Now the title, of course, having nothing to do with what we will really read. Sometimes thematic titles would be better. They give you an idea as to what is happening. The inventory we begin with is for making an atonement ransom. Now that sounds rather ominous, doesn't it? But its conditions are quite interesting. Exodus 30:15. The rich one shall not multiply, and the poor one shall not diminish from the half of a shekel to give the Lord's donation to make atonement for your lives. So it's a set amount for every single person, half a shekel. Everybody had to pay the same. Now remember, there was great emphasis in this community on all things being equal, all laws, and everything applying to everybody equally. Well, maybe not everything. We're going to get into the strange inheritance laws later. But we are reminded about the special qualities of holiness here too. Exodus 30:29. Anyone who touches them will be holy. Now remember, to biblical man, the quality of being holy can spread. So that coming into contact with something that is in a state of holiness renders one holy as well. And maybe that's true, my friends, and I want you to think of that the next time you get to touch the Torah at the service and feel the holiness of that sacred book flowing through you. Now we then get instructions for the creation and use of special incense and special oil, again, only for holy purposes. It's not to be used by anybody else. And we are also introduced to the first artist of the Bible. Exodus 31:2. See, I've called by name Bezalel, son of Uri, son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah, and I have filled him with the Spirit of God in wisdom and in understanding, and in knowledge, and in every kind of work. Friends, it will take artistry to build the accoutrements of God's abode. Now, some have taken the name Bezalel to mean in the shadow of God, Besalel, but it can also come from and mean in the image of God, Besalem Elohim, and that's actually a reference from the creation story in Genesis 1:27. And like I say, where words and phrases are the same, there is a connection between those things. So I think it's really in the image of God. But the lesson is, like from creation on, artistry is essential in sacred creations. And again, God reminds Moses of his one essential command, Exodus 31:13. You shall observe my Sabbaths, because it is a sign between me and you through your generations, to know that I, the Lord, make you holy. Now notice that God says it's a sign between you and me. That was the language of the covenants that God made with man. This was never listed as a covenant. We have 4. We have with Noah, with Abraham, with the people through Moses at Sinai, and through David. Should we actually have a fifth? Or is this really the covenant that's formalized at the Epiphany, the one with Moses on the mountain? Remember, the Sabbath was the most emphasized law. Perhaps it is the sign of the covenant. And so if you do no other thing, my friends, observe the Sabbath, a day of ceasing. Several times we will be reminded of the consequence of not observing, and we will be reminded how important it is. Exodus 31:14. And you shall observe the Sabbath because it is a holy thing to you. One who desecrates it shall be put to death. Okay, well, that says a lot right there. Combining the cosmic with history, it sets the history of human events that begins with Genesis in the context of the very nature of the universe. And it makes time holy. So this long list of holy objects concludes with the reminder that periods of time, the Sabbath, is holy as well. And keep that in mind the next time you do take your ceasing and you have your Sabbath, that it is you are creating your holy time for yourself. Now, between me and the children of Israel, it is a sign forever, because for 6 days the Lord made the skies and the earth, and in the seventh day he ceased and was refreshed. Humans are to cease on the Sabbath. We can't work 7 days a week. And we're to do this because God ceased creating on the Sabbath. Now, this now conveys that every human participates in a divine phenomenon. Therefore, one cannot rest but still require his or her slave to work. One cannot rest but still count on non-Israelites to do the work. Now, this is often ignored in today's day and age. I was with somebody the other day who lived in a very Orthodox part of New York, and he was the Shabbos Goy to a lot of people around him, and he knew that, the Torah said nobody's supposed to work, but it's what unfortunately has taken place. Now, so all of this has been up while Moses is up on the mountain. God's finished with him, and he sends him back. Exodus 31:18. And when he finished speaking with him in Mount Sinai, he gave the 2 tablets of the testimony to Moses, tablets of stone written by the finger of God. Now, I've often been asked, why are they referred to occasionally as 2 tablets of the testimony? There are 2 witnesses to the events, and there must always be at least 2 witnesses to give testimony in law. And Moses names those 2 witnesses at the very end of the Torah in Deuteronomy, and he names them as heaven and earth. But here, God is saying to Moses, these 2 tablets with the 10 commandments, they will act as the witnesses of the testimony. So the people have spent the last 40 days or so after the Epiphany camped at the foot of the mountain of God, receiving all these fantastic projects to build. And Moses is up on the mountain getting final instructions. Exodus 32:1. And the people saw that Moses was delaying to come down from the mountain. And the people assembled in Aaron and said to him, get up, make gods for us who will go in front of us, because this Moses, the man who brought us up from the land of Egypt, well, we don't know what's become of him. Less than 40 days earlier, they heard the voice of God on the mountain, and now they feel abandoned, and they project their deliverance onto Moses and not God. How quickly they turned and forgot the covenant. So Aaron makes the calf. And it's quite interesting to read about. And it too has one of the great mistranslations of the Bible. It says, Vayira Aharon, and Aaron saw. But in the original Hebrew text, before the vowels were added, because don't forget there were no vowels in ancient Hebrew, it can also have meant, and Aaron was afraid. The same word for afraid and saw. And that is by far a more valid translation, and explains why he would cooperate as willingly as he did. And then he, when Moses, calls him out on it, he tries to deflect the blame by saying he took the gold and I threw it into the fire and this calf came out. Nobody buys that. But what's interesting is the wording in this section uses many of the same words used in the story of Joseph's brothers asking to be forgiven. And, again, I'll remind you, this is the second time in this parsha where words are connected to a previous part of the Bible, and when the words are the same, the connection is very strong. And this connection is going to be about forgiveness. And Moses goes and he asks forgiveness for the people, something he will do many times in the adventures coming. So this parsha, my friends, is about forgiveness. It's an idea that's so important that the holy day of seeking forgiveness has become the national holy day instead of the day of freedom, and we have been getting forgiveness from God ever since. We saw Esau exercise the forgiveness mechanism, but it was just glossed over. We didn't talk about it. We don't read about it. Then we saw Joseph exercise the forgiveness mechanism with his brothers. And we are encouraged annually to exercise it too. But we don't spend enough time on it. It is the most important thing you do. If you have not done it, try it. It will change your life. There are people in your life who've come and gone. They let you down. They know they hurt your pride. Better put it all behind you, because life goes on. You keep carrying that anger. It'll eat you up inside. I've been trying to get down to the heart of the matter, but my will gets weak and my thoughts seem to scatter. But I think it's about forgiveness. Forgiveness, even if you don't love me anymore. Forgiveness, my friends, it's all about forgiveness. This parsha is about forgiveness. Everything is so important. It's all connected to forgiveness. Now, earlier I mentioned the great mistranslation of the Torah. Saw and fear is not it, although those two are ones that we will actually see again. No, the great mistranslation is when Moses returns from his second trip to the mountain, when he writes the dictated words of God. Because don't forget, he took the original tablets and he smashed them to destroy the golden calf, and then he has to go back, and he thinks God's going to, write new tablets for him, but God says, hey, you write these things. Exodus 34:29. And it was when Moses was coming down from the mountain, and the two tablets of the testimony were in his hands, and he was coming down, and he had not known that the skin of his face was transformed. And Aaron and all the children of Israel saw Moses, and here the skin of his face was transformed, and they were afraid of going over to him. Coming out of the fiery top of the mountain and back from his once in human history encounter with God, Moses is transformed in some way that is unfortunately obscured in an extremely difficult Hebrew passage. Now, it's often been understood to mean that Moses' face beams light. And it's been, of course, erroneously visualized in numerous artistic depictions as a horned Moses, the most famous of which is Michelangelo's Moses. The skin of his face had glowed, and the sense of the verb in the biblical Hebrew would seem to be had begun to glow, because it's one where it talks about a condition that continues. Now, there's some question about the precise meaning of the verb karan, which occurs only here in the Bible. The Greek translation didn't know what it meant, so it understood it to mean sprouted horns from the word keren, meaning horn, which of course would be a virtually impossible reading because horns would grow from the head, not from the skin of the face. And the notion of divine radiance enveloping the head or face of a god or a king or a priest appears in numerous ancient Mesopotamian texts, and so would probably have been a very familiar idea to the ancient Hebrew audience. But by the Middle Ages, it was lost because it was based upon a different translation. Yes, the world is sacred, and so is everything in it. Express your gratitude, light a candle, make a wish, celebrate your life, my friends, and the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them. Live free, be free, and honor your freedom. Be well, be happy, and be blessed. Share and honor the light and all who live in the light, and continue to shine. Continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone, an end to terror and hatred. Remember, friends, we are a community. We learn together, we celebrate each other, we love each other. We share this ride together, men and women equally. Let's send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, goodwill, and healing to all who need it. And honor the relationships of your life. Tell those you love that you love them. Take advantage of the time that you have. Enjoy your journey. We all take the twists and turns and the patterns that weave through the fabric of our lives in our effort to grow, to learn, to be, to love. So please do love. Now bless you all. Have a fantastic week, a week of love and light, a week of peace, a week of miracles. Examine your intentions and use them to imprint your will on the universe. Remember, we set in motion all that happens in our lives. Our intention, our kavanah, our cause, our effect, everything is linked. As I've said, you always have time to forgive and to be forgiven. You have the knowledge of what is good and bad. So acknowledge what you have done wrong to yourself, to God, and to any person you may have harmed, and ask forgiveness. But do so with sincerity, accountability, and vulnerability. Forgive those who've hurt you, just as you learn to be forgiving and to be compassionate. The secret of forgiveness, my friends, of compassion and of peace, is in acceptance. Can you accept yourself, other people in the world just as they are? Can you accept life just as it is without trying to control it? If you do, you can experience the peace that acceptance brings. Remember, when you are present, you interact with life without trying to prove anything or push an agenda. And when you're present, you're aware of the vitality and aliveness that's both inside and outside of you. You are one with the flow of the universe. So keep that up and do not stop your journey. Keep going towards your own promised land. Keep on dreaming, keep on being, keep sharing, keep shining, keep teaching. Keep spreading joy and goodwill. And always remember that you've got to follow love, not fear. It's always there in front of you. And remember to have faith. It is an unwavering adherence to principle, just as I have faith in the principle of love and all of you. Please act with purity of heart and mind. Despise none, defraud none, hate none, cherish all. Honor every child of God, every creature of the earth. May all people know peace this year. And may you nurture kindness and love everywhere you go. Work to be present in the body. Expand the heart, quiet the mind, because the deepest source of real power lies in consciousness and the ability to be mindful, to be aware, to be present in all circumstances. So make the most of your time in life and continue to touch and transform the lives around you. You're never alone. You're forever blessed, and you have the ability to bring blessing to everybody you meet, health, love, and renewal to everybody you come across. We spread holiness. We're all energy, and energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transformed. Your words are your power to transform, to love, to bless. So be generous with them. Bless others and bless yourself, and love with the heart, because we are all part of a greater whole. Embrace love, not fear, forgiveness, not anger, and be there for someone, because someone's always going to be there for you, whether you know it or not. Do not stop asking questions, and do not stop seeing the miracles of your life. Explore faith. And do not accept shame as a natural state. Whatever you feel, others have felt. Whatever you've experienced, others have too. We share together, we learn together, we help each other, we support and protect each other all the time. When you're weary, feeling small, when tears are in your eyes, I will dry them all. I'm on your side. Oh, when times get rough and friends just can't be found, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down. Like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down. Now, we're all encountering troubling waters, and we can traverse it just fine, and we can help others to cross it too. Use forgiveness, my friends. Be happy, be healthy, be helpful, be kind, be loving, and get ready to celebrate freedom, and get ready to celebrate the new life that you want to have. Shabbat shalom and blessings to you all. Take care. Bye.